have a question for you. It's a simple question. Why are we here? Why are we here? I think it's important to take stock of such a simple question every once in a while, so let's take a look, okay? You know, ever since we carried around clubs, we needed shelter, right? Homes have always been of highest importance to us, right? Everyone needs one and everyone wants one, right? Can we all agree on that? Homes are critically important, right? Now, when we say homes, we mean houses, right? Houses. And today, houses are more than just shelter. They're an investment. They're security. They're our retirement. Houses are a source of comfort. They're a source of personal pleasure. They're a source of identification. They're a symbol of our standing in the community. They're important to us physically and emotionally. Right? So, let's say I'm a homeowner and I have this problem with my home. The problem threatens to take away my security. It takes away my satisfaction and my comfort in my home. It raises the cost of living for me, makes it more expensive to live in that home, so it lowers the standard of living for me and my family. So I set out to look for help with my home in the marketplace. But I'm cautious and defensive when looking for that help. Why? Because I know, for various reasons, home improvement contractors don't always perform. And they leave homeowners like me with a bad deal. I remember stories and lessons learned, and it makes me feel that contractors are just after my money. They don't care what I want. Okay, maybe these stories are the exceptions, but they're the ones I remember. Okay, so now let's park this thought of this homeowner, okay? Take that thought of this homeowner who has a problem with their home. Let's park that over here, all right? So now let's come back here, you and me. Here we are. We're growing up. And we go out into the world to have our own needs and wants fulfilled, okay? But what do? We don't know. So we try some stuff. And everyone's had jobs when they were kids, right? You all remember your first jobs, you know, before you were either, you know, legal enough to work or after, right? I want to tell you about a few of my first jobs, okay? My earliest job that I can remember, I was in second grade, 7 years old, and I sold seeds door to door, garden and vegetable seeds. You know, ding dong, would you like to buy some seeds? You know, ding dong, would you like to buy some seeds? And, you know, it was springtime and it worked. When I was about 12 years old, my brother Steve and I, my older brother, we would go down to the beach and we would drag a net for bait fish and sell them to the bait store, okay? That was at the foot of the pier. So Mom and Pop bought us a net, and it was 16 feet long, and it had floats along the top, and it had sinkers along the bottom, and each end of the net was tied to a stick. And we would walk out in the water to about this deep, and then one of us would make the swing with the net. We'd drag it up on the beach and see what we got, okay? So I remember this one time, we were near a bridge, and the current was fast. It was tidal area, and the current was fast. And so we walk out into the water up to our knees, and it was my turn to make the swing. And so you turn around to make the swing. You're like this, pulling the net, you know, and the bottom, the sandy bottom, had dropped off so fast that all of a sudden, I was expecting to go into the water up to here. All of a sudden, I'm swimming, right? I'm in up to here. And I wasn't dressed for it. I wasn't ready for it. And the water was freezing cold. And you're like, you know, but I didn't let go of the stick. I had the stick, right? I'm doggy paddling with one hand, and I'm holding the stick, and I'm going around, you know? And do you ever have one of those moments where you just say, what am I doing here? Right? I'm just trying to make a buck. I'm drowning. Anyway, so I doggy paddled around, and I got my feet back up on the sand, and we pulled the net in like this. You pull it in, and you pull it up on the sand. And we had one of the best drags ever. The shiners were boiling in the net, and we scooped them up and put them in our bucket, you know. And when our bucket was almost full, we'd take our bucket up to the harbor hut. and sell the shiners to the owner of the snack shack and bait shop that was at the foot of the pier. And he would smile, these two young boys bringing their bounty up there, you know. He was probably smiling because he was ripping us off. He wasn't paying us enough, you know. But anyway, another job I had when I was 13 years old. Yes, this is what you look like when you're 13 years old in 1977, and your father dresses you for a picture. Anyway, so I have this paper route, right? I bought this paper route, and there's 40 papers I got to deliver every day. And, you know, I added a few customers here and there, but I thought it was a good idea to buy another kid's paper route. So I bought him out, and then I bought another paper route. All in all, I had 140 papers I had to deliver every day without fail before any fun was to happen. 140 papers, a lot of papers. And so I thought that was a good idea in the summer. But summer faded into fall, and fall gave way to another bitter winter. And I remember this one Sunday morning. Okay, I remember this very clearly. I got up, and I got up at 5 in the morning because these people wanted their papers when they got up. If they didn't have their papers when they got up in the morning, then, you know, you'd get complaints, you wouldn't get tips and stuff, right? So we lived off tips. So I got up at 5 in the morning, and it was one of those cold winter mornings, like the cold is coming through the walls. You know, you're cold before you even go outside, right? So I got dressed, I went downstairs, and I opened the door, and I found that it had snowed 8 inches overnight. And the sky was clear again, and there was a moon shining down. You know how that is at night? The moon lights up all the snow and everything. So, all right, so it's freezing, right? So I go out, and I get my 2 shopping carts that I recovered from the river near the shopping center, right? And now I'm pushing one and pulling the other one, and the snow is over, you know, that bottom rack on the carriages? The snow is over that, and I'm pushing one and pulling the other, and I go over the corner where the truck dropped my papers in the night, and I dig out the bundles of papers, and I put them in there, right? I put them in there, and the Sunday paper, you know how thick that is, right? We actually had to put the comics inside. And anyway, so that thick times 140, that's why I needed 2 carts. It was a big load, right? So I put them all in there. Now I got these 2 heavy carts and 8 inches of snow, and I'm trying to push these things. And where I lived, there was a 2-foot wide strip of grass between the sidewalk and the curb. And in this 2-foot wide strip of grass, there was 2-foot wide trees. And they pushed up the sidewalk, you know, so the sidewalks are all uneven, and the carriage gets stuck on them, and I'm having to push one and then pull the other just a couple feet at a time. I got a long way to go. I got 140 papers to deliver. And so I remember this one moment. I looked up. It was a clear night, and I looked up, and I locked eyes with the moon. Another moment. What am I doing here? I'm freezing, you know. I got to tell you this story. This is a funny story. This is one of the most embarrassing moments of my life at that point. I'm over it now, obviously. I'm telling you. Okay, so I'm driving in my mom's car, and we're on sort of bad side of town. We're just driving through, okay? And she didn't even know that I noticed this, right? But we go by this newsstand, and it was a newspaper store, you know, that sells cigarettes and stuff, and there's like a liquor store next door, and these shady characters hanging outside, you know the kind of place, right? So I see a sign in the window, and it says, job rolling papers, 2 for $1. So I pondered this sign for days. Why would they pay me 50 cents to roll up a newspaper? So as near as I could figure, I would be the assistant to the paper man. You know what the paper man is? He's the guy, the full-grown guy drives around in his car throwing papers out the window, taking good work from us paper boys, right? And so I figured, well, he can't throw the papers if they're not rolled up. So he must want an assistant to roll them all up first, right? Maybe put a rubber band on them to hold them. And, you know, I'm thinking, wow, you know, I'm going to be the fastest paper roller they ever seen, you know? I pictured like the calf ropers on TV. 50 cents. 50 cents. I'm going to make a fortune. So, okay, so here's a lesson for everybody. If you have a question, don't sit on your ask. Ask the question. So I got up the courage to walk into the store. You know, here I am, little kid. And I go to the counter, and there's this big, burly guy behind there. And he says, yeah? I said, I'm here to inquire about the job rolling papers. And he said, what? I said, I'm here. I knew something was wrong. To inquire about the job rolling papers? He said, oh. He slapped down a pack of cigarette rolling papers on the counter. And I knew that they weren't used for rolling cigarettes, okay? So here's another moment. I'm just trying to make a buck. You know? Why am I here? I got myself in the middle of a drug deal. So I said, never mind, and I ran out of there. Oh my God. Okay. Another job that I gave myself, I succumbed to a classmate's suggestion and his example, and I sold fireworks to my friends. Yes, I did. You know, nothing big, just firecrackers and bottle rockets and smoke bombs, stuff like that. And, you know, I didn't know if it was really illegal. I know it probably was on the line, you know. But I figured all the other kids were getting this stuff from somewhere. Might as well be me, right? So it worked out great for a week or so. And then she found my inventory and confiscated it. So it really taught me a valuable lesson, okay, that I used later in life. In my early 20s, I had these visions of opening a bar. I was into themes back then. I was going to do a cave theme or something, cave bar. But it taught me a valuable lesson. And the lesson is you've got to be doing something good for people. Otherwise, it's not going to come out good in the end, right? So when I was old enough to legally work, I got a job at a department store, stocking shelves, ringing the register. And then I got a job at this steakhouse washing dishes. And, oh, I hated that job. Scraping plates, what people didn't eat or didn't want to eat or had already eaten halfway. Trying to make these plates clean enough again to eat off of, right? Well, I did the job to the best of my ability, but I hated it. Well, one day, I'm looking down through the stainless steel rails of the dishwasher rack, and there's like this water reservoir. And I don't know, it must have pumped up through the dishwasher or something. You know, and I wasn't a veteran of this trade, but I'm looking down there, and there's like a 4-inch thick wall of coagulated, translucent grease at the water line all the way around, right? Like, oh my God, this can't be right. You got to get this out of there. So I reach my hand down, and I'm scraping big blobs of this stuff off, right? And I'm realizing I'm doing something that's never been done before. I'm going to save all this big blob of grease. You know, it was like a pile like this big, right? Put it on one of those trays, right? Big pile of, right? And so I figure I save it to show my boss. When he comes around, he's going to be really happy with me. I'm going to show him what I did. So he comes around, and I said, look what I did. And he didn't even crack a smile. He just motioned to the next tray, bus tray of dirty dishes for me to get back to work, right? So I'm thinking again, why am I here? You know? Then I got a job at U-Haul, and it was a block from our house, one block. I could walk. And this is that picture of the actual U-Haul that I worked at. And, you know, there's a 3-man shift at U-Haul. And I was 16 years old, you know, putting trailer hitches on, cleaning trucks and stuff like that. And, you know, I remember usually out of the 3 guys that were working, the manager who lived in an apartment upstairs of the dealership was usually up there partying with his girlfriend. And the other guy that was working would be sleeping on a 3-foot-high pile of orange moving blankets. I mean, he was out, okay? Here I am, 16 years old. I'm running the place. I'm the only responsible one in the place, you know? I'm thinking, why am I here? So, what I realized was that by the time I was ready to graduate high school and go out and work full time, was that all the jobs that I had, what? All the jobs that I had, I was serving other people to make their lives better, right? I mean, I guess you could even argue that the fireworks one was making their lives better, so long as my customers didn't blow themselves up or light themselves on fire. So, here we all are, out, you and me, we're growing up, we have these jobs, right? We're set out to go out in the world to get what we want. And what do we want? What do we want out of our jobs? Well, the specifics are different, but the themes are not. We want to provide for our physical needs, food, clothing, and shelter, and such, and provide those things to our families. We want to do work that we feel good about. We want to be respected for what we do. We want to feel like our work is worthy. We want to feel like we're getting better at it, like we're mastering our craft. These are the things that we want. And so this is what I realized. After scraping grease and putting trailer hitches on and catching fish and delivering newspapers, all jobs are in serving other people. No matter where you work, all jobs are in serving other people. That's it. That's the job. There's no other job. Serving other people in some form, that's the job. So remember our homeowner? Let's bring our homeowner back into this, okay? Let's see where our homeowner's needs and wants meets our needs and wants. We are here to be something to this homeowner. A solution, yes, but more than that. We are here to serve them, to save them, to be a sanctuary of safety, an oasis amongst a field of risk, a solid point in a crazy world. We are here to be a physical and emotional relief for this homeowner. We are here to be a bright spot to homeowners where a dark one once was. That's why we're here. That is why we are here. Of all the industries we could have worked in and all the places we could work at, we chose this place. This place is worthy of our dedication. This place is where we serve others and provide for ourselves and our families at the same time. We are here to get home improvement right as no one else ever has. It's a noble mission, worthy of our dedication, worthy of our commitment, as worthy as any place, anywhere. That is why we're here. That is why we're here. Right? Right? We will pursue perfection. And if we get excellence along the way, we'll take it. We want each and every one of you to experience what it's like to run a fully functioning, well-oiled, highly effective home services company. To know exactly what to do and when to do it from season to season to make it a perennial winner for homeowners, customers, and everybody that comes in contact with it. I think it's clear. Our actions do support us being a beacon of light for homeowners. What you do makes a difference, right? We do all this at our companies, where we serve our fellow employees and serve customers. It's called capitalism. And it lies at the intersection of serving others and serving ourselves at the same time. And capitalism is not a dirty word. In fact, it's in a small group of the very best words of all. So this is how we choose to make our contribution to the world. This is how we serve others and pursue our highest calling. Thank you.